Welcome to the Urban Cowgirl Show.
Okay, we have the heifers entirely tacked up, although we have to get a better crooper on Susie, which is Susie's closest to the camera. Everett is ready to go with the forecart. We've done this before, but only took 2 steps, and we didn't have quite the best hardware to use to hook up the forecart shaft to the homemade yoke that is on the 2 heifers' necks. Today, we hope we've solved at least the problem that we recognized last time. We hope the heifers will let us hook the forecart onto them, and we hope we'll feel comfortable enough to take more than a few steps, maybe 6 steps forward in a straight path without them getting spooked. Okay, so Everett is very, not sneakily, but quietly, but talk to them, and he's gonna bring the forecart shaft up to them. And now the question is, can we get the forecart shaft hooked up easily? We think we improved the hardware last time. It just took too long. It was too cumbersome. Looks like, are we hooked?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, Everett, just step back. And Kyle and Katie, if you can walk forward, Everett, be ready though to help if there's a spook. I still cannot be very useful in that kind of situation because I am still recuperating from my left hip replacement.
That fell off of her halter. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Step up.
That's the way I want to see a forecart pulled in pairs by my mini Zebu heifers. How did it feel, girls and boys, Kyle and Katie?
Sheila wants, they both kind of want to spook from it.
They want to spook from it. Okay, and we found out that with the heifers, it's best to use muscle power rather than just visual blocks. And you see that crooper's falling off again. We need to get a shorter crooper, and I know I have one somewhere. Well, then we're just going to call that our moment of resolution. They walked forward about 4 or 5 steps. They didn't spook, and our new connection of the forecart shaft worked really well. So that's all for today, a very short session. Our next session with the heifers. They're all harnessed up, including the britchin. Everett's bringing the forecart forward. We hope to get a straight path with more steps today. We're doing everything 1 step at a time, tiny baby steps. And interestingly enough, on RFD TV last week, I saw a couple of very large oxen misbehaving, similar to the way we've had to deal with our little mini heifers misbehaving, and a man alone had to get their respect and attention and proceed with his farming work. So, let's see now, Everett, you're going to be here in case there's trouble. But it went so well last time, I am optimistic that you are going to be able to take, let's say, 15 steps forward. If you can do a serpentine after a straight path without doing a sharp G and Ha turn, G being right, Ha being left, I'm going to leave it up to your judgment. But let's just try to be successful.
That long pole, you're going to have to do a real wide turn.
Yeah, the turning radius is going to be real wide because the pole, the shaft is so long. Okay, let's see, Susie is chewing her cud, which is a good sign. When you, good. When you see a place to do a serpentine, like, let's say, beyond that oak tree, yeah, good. They just said, Ha. Very nice. And there's a G. We're not going to be so optimistic that we're going to go beyond our moment of resolution today. When you get to a place where you need to stop and then take the forecart off, or do you think you can do it? Very, very careful here. There's that turning radius. It's a little bigger step than I wanted. Yeah, they need to haw over and gee over, which we have taught them, but it's been a while. In other words, they need to go over their haunches. And the forecart is doing its job. Very nice. We've gone beyond our moment of resolution. Yes. I'd like you to just come up here and be close enough to the camera because we don't have mics today, and tell us how it felt. It looks to me like they're being real responsive today, which is what I was hoping for. Okay, let's stop, and if we feel comfortable, let's just leave the forecart on, and can you tell us?
Yeah, they're being a lot calmer than last time. The turning down there, Susie's butt kind of went way away from it, and it was kind of just making Sela sidestep over and not really do a haw turn, but it works.
Okay, so just repetition, repetition. Eventually, you know, we want to do this with somebody in the forecart and 2 people at the head. And then eventually, can we do it with somebody in the forecart and drive lines? And boy, is that looking ahead at a goal, a farming goal here at Shadrach Farms that who knows when. We'll just take this one tiny baby step at a time. Thank you, crew. Well, today's another session with Susie and Sela, pulling in pairs with our homemade forecart. We only have a team of 3. And I'm at the camera and still unable to handle my livestock with any kind of muscle power because of my hip replacement. 1 more month and then I should be okay. So we're doing our best here today. We took Susie and Sela around to the path where we want them to go today with the forecart. So Katie, who has the longest relationship with Susie and Sela, is going to stay at the head. Scott is going to stay back there, whatever you have to do to keep it safe. I'm going to follow with the camera, and we've already walked out on the path with Susie and Sela without the forecart where we want to take them through this obstacles area. So let's see what happens.
What am I doing here? Okay.
Today. Can we make progress? Can we find our moment of resolution? And next time we'll probably switch roles.
Step up.
See, it's making noise, but these 2 heifers so far don't mind the noise like Evie does with her forecart. We're having to desensitize my Morgan horse, who's my best pulling horse, to the sounds that the old forecarts make. They're old hay carts that we made into forecarts. If you guys can just take that path that we just took with Susie and Sela without the forecart, if you can take that path and come back here to the camera, I'm hoping we can say, well, we found our moment of resolution today. We made progress in tiny baby steps. We're doing everything, of course, with safety as number 1 issue. Looking good so far.
Just jumping.
Now last time we had a little bit of trouble with Sela when we wanted to make a tight turn. Today we may or may not deal with that. Yeah, you know what I think you should do when you get here is start going east again, which will be a kind of a tight turn, and let's make sure that Sela will move her body parts in such a way that in pairs they can make a tight turn with that forecart. Making noise. You see, Sela is Sela's the one to the right. Didn't move her hips over, but now she is. I'm ready to call that our moment of resolution, but I'll leave it up to you, Katie. Do you want to give them another challenge?
The only other thing I would say is maybe add some weight to the cart.
Aha. How about if we do that next time?
Okay.
We'll be more prepared with a concrete block or something. So that's all for today.
It's too much.
I'm proud to say that Susie and Sela are pulling our homemade forecart with our homemade double yoke in pairs without concern.
Next, we plan to add some weight to the forecart, as well as provide further practice in heifer pair driveline control.
Our next session, we've got the heifers already tacked up. We've got a short team again today. It's a weekend. We always have a short team. Well, it's not a weekend, but it's between quarters, so a lot of my student helpers are not around. But we feel that we can take this next baby step if the heifers are behaving. It's a nice, warm, sunny part of the day. They're chewing their cud, at least Susie is, and Sela, that's next to Kyle, is half asleep. Now, as they go by, because they're now connected to the forecart, as they go by, I'm going to follow with the camera. If they are behaving, I am going to leave the camera on this path, which is what we took last time. And I'm going to go, and when we get to that propane tank, we've got a couple weights, concrete blocks, ready to be put into the forecart. And then we're going to go a little bit farther, just to make sure that with the weights, we don't have any surprises. Okay, you guys, let's see what we can do for just a few minutes today. Sarah is at the head of Susie. Kyle is at the head of Sela. Kyle has a
Get Sela to step up.
Arm extension, and so does Sarah.
Step up.
Step up. We say step up. We're going today together, so we have to go in pairs. Both leaders have to go together. So far, so good.
Yeah. Come on. Oh. Step up.
Up.
Now, when they get to the propane tank, I'm going to put the weights in, and we're just going to go about the same distance in a straight path only.
Step up. Okay, let's stop here.
Oh.
Oh.
Good, good. That was very good to be very firm and clear. I'm putting the weights on the bench where the human being would be sitting if we were pulling with the forecart. Okay, I'm going to hold on here and pull them out if we have any trouble.
Step up.
Up.
Just stop. Oh, to your left a little bit, you guys.
Ha.
Ha. Ha. We're not even going to try to turn today. That's good. Let's stop them.
Oh.
Step up. Oh.
I'm leaving them here, and we'll put them away. Let's disconnect the forecart.
Easy, girls. Easy.
Easy now, girls.
Easy.
Go forward, and then do maybe
Step up.
a ha turn into the leaves, and make your way back to the camera.
Ha.
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 You can go, into the leaves. They were able to do that last time real nicely.
Step up.
Ha. Ha.
Ha means left, G means right.
Step up.
Totally successful. Baby step. Those concrete blocks are pretty heavy. I had trouble lifting them. Remember, I'm still recuperating from my left hip replacement. Another couple weeks and I should be able to ride. All right, any comments, you guys, as you're close by? Did you feel any stress when we put the weights in the forecart?
I think they were very relaxed, and I think they handled it really well.
Wonderful. Okay, so we're going to do that again, maybe on a longer path with G and Ha. We're going to put the check drive lines on, maybe in the next session.
Step up.
And maybe do lead line and have somebody sit in the forecart if we feel it's safe. see if we can get some driveline control, and eventually we want to do this pulling in pairs for farming with our mini Zebu heifers without needing somebody at their heads. Just somebody in the forecart with cross-check drivelines that control both heifers at one time and get some work done here at Shadrach Farms. And that's all for today. Sonia Sokolow, happy to say we found our moment of resolution in this session. Well, this is our next session, and look what we're doing. We don't have the forecart attached yet. We've got the cross-check reins on that we made with dog leashes. And Katie with an arm extension and the cross-check reins hooked to the harnesses are going to see, she's going to see if she can get control of the heifers, but we still have two people at the head. If all goes well, after they move around, you see they're a little bit spooky, and our homemade double yoke has to be glued again in one place, but we think we can go on safely with it the way it is now. Okay, she's doing a hot turn. Now the cross-check reins, remember, control the pair with just one pair of reins. We've had a show about how we created these cross-check reins for now with just some dog leashes. They're connected to the halters. We don't even have side pulls on the heads of the heifers. Now, last time we had some weights in the forecart. They were fine on pulling it on a straight path. This time Katie said she doesn't mind getting in the forecart. Let's see how it goes. Now, there's a hot turn. You see how she's controlling them with the reins that are connected in the middle. There we go. Okay. Now, we're going to hook up the forecart. I'll turn off the camera for that because you've seen that done many a time. And if Katie feels comfortable getting in, we'll have her get in, and we'll do the same thing with her sitting on the bench seat of the forecart. All right, she's in. We're gonna, if this works, we're gonna try to get some leather cross-check reins, just the right length, that hook onto either their halters or their side pulls. Okay, we're gonna try to do a straight path, and if you're feeling comfortable when you get to the other end of the driveway, let's try to do a hot turn. You remember how we did that in the past. And we weaved our way through this obstacles area, asking the heifers to G and ha. Look how close we're getting to farming with our mini Zebu heifers. Katie has a big smile on her face. It must feel good to get to this point after all the training we've done and all of the creative work we've done about trying to build this homemade forecart, because you know forecarts are thousands of dollars, even used ones. We weren't ready. We weren't ready to buy one, so we tried to be creative, and we built one from an old hay cart with a center bar for this pair's driving task. So far so good. We didn't bother putting the concrete blocks in because Katie felt confident to get in herself, especially with Sarah and Scott at their heads, especially with the weather today, which is nice and calm and sunny, especially with the way the Zebus were behaving when we tacked them up. All of these things have to be considered. This is a first. Now, if necessary, Katie could get out. We could unhitch the forecart. So safety-wise, we do have ways to protect everybody from safety hazards. We always think about that when especially when we do things for the first time. They're not wanting to go forward. It's better, Scott, if you don't look back at them when you pull. And do you have an arm extension? Does anybody have an arm extension? Katie's just going to pick up a stick. Oftentimes I do that if I need one in a pinch. You just touch them on their hips behind the drive line. So when you get here past these pink flowers, just turn toward the west. So you're going to make a G-turn. And can you stop for a moment? If they're going to stop nice and stand nice. Katie, if they took the lead lines off and just joined up, do you feel you could go 5 steps forward?
Certainly do.
Yes, okay. So you both, Scott and Sarah, you know what a join up is. You take the lead line off and stand and escort them just like you were with the lead line. So if there's a safety hazard, maybe you can put the lead lines back on. But in any case, they think you're still connected. That's a Monty Roberts term. See if you can go 5 steps forward, then we'll get out, unhitch.
Step up.
And keep practicing.
Step up. Step up.
Looks like Susie went, and so then Sela said, okay, I'm going to go.
Step up.
We've got to get these two to stay head on head and hips parallel. I'm happy whenever you want to stop. Let's see if we can get them.
Step up.
Yes. Okay. I would be perfectly happy with that as our moment of resolution. Postscript, we're putting the heifers back to graze with Papa Rusty. And can you come up closer, a little bit closer, and tell me what you just suggested is the next step?
I think they just need more practice being driven with the crosscheck reins. They're not concerned at all about pulling that or even having me sit in it. So
yeah, and how much do you weigh?
115.
Okay, I'm not any more than that, so if I get in there, it should be no difference.
Yeah.
We just want to make sure they're solid before I get in there because of my hip replacement. Okay? Thank you.
To be frugal, we are using ropes whose lengths are nearly the same as the dog leash crosscheck drive lines in order to make better crosscheck drive lines. We show you here how we measure and plan.
Well, this is our next session, but we're not bringing the cows out today. What we're doing is making a plan to go on with actually pulling a single tree. And Katie, can you point and show the screw eye bolts that we're going to install in our modified hay cart, which is kind of a forecart for training. We're going to install with an extra piece of wood backing those screw eyes. Let me zoom in here. So we can connect that single tree, which is also just for training, it's made out of PVC and chain, to the forecart and start pulling items with it, like simulated logs and so forth, and then eventually maybe that wood log, which is hanging there on the side of my cart shed and my Zebu shed. It's heavier, it's solid. We're taking this one baby step at a time. We re-glued the double yoke that came apart at the top of the double yoke as it's standing on end. If it comes apart again, because sometimes this PVC glue, it can't be trusted. It would be very dangerous if it came apart while we were pulling. We are going to put a through bolt here through that white tee and the gray conduit. We may do it anyway, just because we're worried about it failing during a pull. Now, Katie's going to talk to us about what we think we're going to do to create this crosscheck driveline so that it's strong, lightweight, and most importantly at this point in my life, frugal. The idea is the dog leashes in the middle here have worked, but they're not ideal. We'd like to frugally make something ideal that is clearly a crosscheck rein similar to the one that we use for the horses that we got from Doc Hamill. Katie, could you point to where you're saying it might be a little bit tricky? Let me see if I can get you. There you go, right there. That's what sits on the back of the two Zebus, right, when they're going in pairs. Right now we're just using some handles of the front dog leashes and the clasp of the back dog leashes to connect everything. We were just being very creative when we started this. We're ready to move on to being not only creative, but frugal. A 2 or 3 minute summary of what we're gonna do in the near future. Here is the single tree chained to the screw eyes in the back of our homemade forecart. There is the usual tack that we put on our heifers. Now we have made, frugally, a new crosscheck driveline out of some rope we had. And here are the crosscheck reins being held by Sarah, who will be giving the heifers, without the forecart attached, a lot of repetitious practice on driving with those crosscheck reins, preferably with just halters on. But if necessary, we will use side pulls, and I'm going to show you what a side pull is in case you haven't seen it in the past. Here's a side pull. It has a lariat noseband. See, the lariat noseband gives it just a little bit more control if we need it. But I have seen giant oxen being controlled by voice command, so I think if we do this properly, we will be okay on my heifers, who so far have shown a great deal of responsiveness without resistance. You see how this driveline is on Susie's back, on her hips. You see the idea of the crosscheck reins. We have one pair of drivelines in Sarah's hands, and yet we're controlling both sides of each heifer's heads. And we're gonna give a whole lot of practice to our heifer pairs in pairs pulling, pairs driving, farming around here at Shadrach Farms. See more at www.urbancowgirlchannel.com.